Dude, what the hell happened? I felt like Trump hadn't had competition. So he was up against Biden, who was not competition. Come on. This episode is brought to you by SocialGenius. That's where Jeff and I get to actually teach you what to do on social and how to grow it. Jeff, why should people join?
You know, if you are the type of professional that wants to do it yourself and maybe your budget's a little bit lighter and you can't afford to hire somebody to do all the editing, do the fancy stuff for you, we're going to teach you how to do all this stuff. And the truth is, most of these social platforms are not favoring authenticity. So it's shooting these green screens and doing remixes and understanding what's trending. Those are the things that matter the most to your social strategy. And so if you like to be inside of a tight culture of people that are like-minded and want to do it themselves, then SocialGenius is perfect for you.
We'll see you there. You'll never find it for less than this anywhere else. It's very inexpensive. We'll see you on the other side.
I do want to tease the episode to say I really want to talk about the election, the controversy. We had another assassination attempt.
Yep.
It had the debate, which was last week at the time of this recording, which obviously we used for content. And I think it's worth discussing as it relates to social media, how you could be using the election to improve engagement, improve the attention, maybe help define your brand, but it's delicate. And so I think it's a really good topic to talk about, which ironically also, as of today, the time of this recording, TikTok is going in front of Congress. They have 15 minutes to continue to make their case before the January 25th D-Day date. So yeah, I think those are our topics. But you know, you asked,
how was your weekend, Jeff? How was your weekend?
I had Beer Olympics, man. Beer Olympics, which is it's a event in quotations put on by some friends. They started it years ago, and actually this was allegedly the last one. My wife and I have only competed twice, and both times we won. So,
damn, dude, you guys are Olympians.
Yeah, basically, if it was a professional sport, we'd be rich. Yes, we'd have contracts, we'd have all the things. It's fun. It's a combination of beer games that include some athletic ability, some like carnival games, and some chugging. And so it's a team of 4. It's supposed to be, 2 females, 2 males.
Okay.
And so, I strategically choose a partner or partners, at least one partner who can chug, because I'm not that guy. I can't chug.
Okay.
My wife doesn't even drink. One person on the team doesn't have to drink. They can drink water or whatever. And so it's an interesting day. It's a lot of fun, and we take it far too serious, which is probably why we win.
Wow. And where is this, at the lake?
No, it's at somebody's house here in St. Louis, and they have a really big backyard, and you choose a country. So everybody decks out. Like, you choose a country, and then they get dressed up in their country, and yeah, it's fascinating.
Did you record it?
I have a video. Yeah, I flew the drone, and I'll do a little bit of I always do a recap, but I haven't had time to do that yet. It'll come out this week sometime.
Dude, good job, man. That sounds super fun.
It is fun. Yeah,
I like it. All right, what'd you think of the debate? I can go first if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Dude, what the hell happened? I felt like Trump hadn't had competition. So he was up against Biden, who was not competition. Come on.
No.
So when he had a prosecutor, he kind of fumbled, man. I don't know that he prepared enough. And then obviously people were like, she had the questions. She had an earpiece that was talking to her. I don't know about those. But the other one I do agree with, which was they kept on fact checking him and not her. And that pissed me. And I'm in the middle. And that pissed me off. I'm like, that's not fair, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
And I think the way that I've seen social media respond, just to use it for fun, it's so good. Some amazing stuff. What great opportunities.
Yeah.
To just grow that audience, right?
Well, I'm like you. I'm very much in the middle in the sense that I do not claim a political party. So I'm not on either side. I vote based upon policy, not, and here's what I would say from that. I think I respect Trump as a businessman. I think he's a fumbling idiot when it comes to, debates and politics and just talking. Like, just shut up, right? It doesn't make any sense to me why he doesn't have people controlling him more. But, same for Biden. Like, Biden was a fumbling idiot as well.
Yeah, but Biden was just old. Dude.
Yeah, no, I know. And Trump has different excuses, I guess, or reasons. But you know what? One thing the debate did for me, it really exaggerated, in my opinion, that elections, presidents, really, I'm going to go this, aren't about the individual anymore. I feel like the individuals, it's going more and more towards puppets. And Biden was just a perfect example. He was a puppet. Let's
at that point, you have no other option, but other people have to kind of operate it.
I mean, I don't even think the president has a massive impact on anything that happens anyway. It's the people around them.
That's always true, man. It was designed that way from the very beginning.
Possibly. But I don't know enough about it. I'm too ignorant to it. I just know this. I think that in watching social, people are so caught up in individuals. And I think that's really a cause for the biggest problem here, is that the emotions are getting so caught up in this. Because I was thinking about it over the weekend too. I was thinking, Biden's presidency, by and large, Kamala's been, and again, I don't pay a whole lot of attention, but really in the shadows to me. Like, didn't really know. I don't know anything about her. I don't know. It seemed like it was a positioning move. She was a female. She's got African American descent. Like, that was the position and why they chose her. And then all of a sudden, she's thrust into running for president, and everybody acts like we're in love with her. And it's like, I don't know.
Not everybody, but yeah.
No, you know what I mean. I know, but it's so divided, and that's what pisses me off. But that's the opportunity that exists. And so for me, Tristan, and this is why I thought about that for today's topic, was there is opportunity to have fun with it, as we discussed and as we've done. And everybody knows, who knows me, knows I have fun with it, with the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yes, you do.
And I stir the pot, which makes people think that I'm very pro-Trump. As I've commented to a lot of Democrats, or lefties as I call them, or the blues, I'm simply displaying the lifestyle at the Lake of the Ozarks. And if you choose to believe that I'm a Trump supporter, whatever, you believe what you want to believe. But when you go to the lake and you drive around the lake in a boat, there's a lot of Trump flags, and you're not going to see a Kamala. It doesn't exist. And maybe there's one, but and that's just lifestyle. And then I've kind of defended myself in that regard. I don't know why. I just should let people fight. But
it's, it's pretty split in Malibu.
Is it?
So, well, we've got Robert Kennedy lives here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's pretty split. I would say equally split too. So you can literally drive like house to house and see different political affiliations, but everybody seems to get along pretty well.
I think most states, the denser areas tend to be more Democratic. The rural areas tend to be more Republican. It's just the way it's always been.
I agree.
I guess what I was going to say, though, is that it's just like, I feel like emotions have run so high. They've gotten so out of hand. Like, everybody's forgotten. Because the thing I don't understand, if we're going to talk about this, and specifically politics, and I'd love to get your opinion, because I know you and I are very neutral on this, is that when you look at, and here I am, so I'm kind of watching and assessing how people are responding to my posts. And of course, as I've mentioned before, every once in a while, they it's like they find a Democratic algorithm or a Republican algorithm, right? And so in the most recent case, it found a Democratic one, and so it's just a bashing, of course. But one of the most common responses to the boating lifestyle from Democrats is, oh, wow, the economy really must not be doing that poorly. And, kind of like, and what I think to myself is that, it doesn't matter who the president is. Hardworking people, successful people will find success doesn't matter who the president of the United States is, right? It doesn't matter. Now, they're probably poorer as a result, but I mean, relatively speaking, a billionaire is not worth as many billions. A millionaire is not worth as many millions. But the thing that I find fascinating, and I'd love your opinion on this, is that the people that are probably commenting this, and by and large, I think the Democratic voter tends to lean more middle, lower middle, and lower class, just historically. And that is the individual that is impacted the most by economic times that have seen inflated interest rates, inflated home values, inflated gas prices, inflated grocery prices, inflated everything. They're the ones that are impacted the most. Yet those people, and I don't understand this, are so violently defending that party that maybe they're not responsible for it, but they're with the president during the time that this happened. My wife and I were talking about this yesterday, and I said, Democrats are probably blaming the 4 years prior, like Trump blamed the 4 years prior to him. Why? It's like, there's always blame, but it's like, it just baffles me. Why would somebody who's the one who's impacted the most by this, defending it and actually wanting to vote it in again? I don't understand that. Please explain that to me.
Oh, dude, it's been going around forever. So I'm in the middle of reading a book on Abraham Lincoln and leading up to the Civil War. He was dealing with the exact same thing we're dealing now. Like, it feels like identical, really. And he says, hey, you know what? We can't be so passionate about the things that we think we're right on. Let's just stick to looking at the laws and reason. And it's like, he's talking to two different people. And obviously he was killed, right? Assassination. Yeah. It's I think it's easy for us to look at where we're at right now and say, well, my gosh, it's the worst it's ever been. It's not the worst we've ever been. It's been worse. And
yeah, there were civil wars. I mean,
I know, man. And it's always been like this. And you brought up a good point here that I think where we can connect with our audiences, right? Depending on where we are. I noticed that the younger generation, for the most part, is Democratic, right? And then it starts separating. You start seeing then as you get a little older, you go more towards the middle, or you go Republican, or you stay Democrat. But you start growing, right? You're like, hey, it's not just one way.
You start understanding how it impacts you.
Yeah. So I think that the reason that you've got that younger audience that is more liberal is because they can be, right? And that's where everybody starts, on a liberal side. And then some stay, some go to the middle, like me, right? And then some go Republican and then beyond. So I think what we need to look at is, who do we want to target based on how we approach social? Like I was actually looking at the debate, and I'm like, okay, how do I do this? Should I ask Kamala some questions about real estate? And some people did. And some people beat me to it. I was like, ooh, that would have been good with just her responses. Or Trump, when he said, he says, I have concepts of a plan, which was hilarious. And then the cat thing, I'm like, dude, should I do the cat thing?
Yeah.
Then, I don't know. So there's so many opportunities. We just have to be paying attention to say, who is the audience we want to attract? Because even if we don't want to, people are going to make a decision as to who they think we are based on what they're watching.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that becomes the challenge, because sometimes we don't want, sometimes we do. Like sometimes we're like, some are hardcore Democrat or Republican, and that's fine. But some people are like you and I, which we actually are in the middle.
Yeah.
And we want to have fun on both sides. Yeah. And that becomes a little bit more challenge because we get attacked, right? So we have to be careful.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's every election that just pushes me further and further away from politics and pushes me further and further away from claiming a side. Like, it'll never happen I will never claim a side at this point. I will always remain independent. And again, it comes back to, we get so hyper-focused or obsessed with the individual. And even here I am sitting here saying, like, I actually was a Trump fan, like pre the last 10 years. As somebody who studied business, wanted to be a successful business person, that was a person that I looked at, right?
I watched the show, dude. My wife and I watched.
Same. I have I think a couple of his books.
Yeah.
And so it's like but now it's like I'm looking past that. Like I said this his first 4 years. I'm like, you're an idiot, dude. Like they need to remove your access to being able to tweet, because all you're going to do is get yourself in trouble and say stupid shit. Kind of like over the weekend or this past week, Andy Frisella with First Form, Supplement Superstore, and he made a mistake, and now now that's going to suck. We've been talking about that. I was hanging out with an executive from First Form over the weekend. He was at that party because First Form's based out of St. Louis, and I asked him, and you could just tell he got real uncomfortable. Like, oh yeah, I got to deal with that mess on Monday. But it's like my point was, it's like we get so hyper focused and obsessed with the individual, and we've lost focus on, okay, how is the policy or the party going to impact my family?
Well, hold on that, because I think that's an important thought when it comes to social media and human behavior. So if we know that people are so caught up with individuals, and that's never going to change. People follow people. They always do. In fact, that's one of our things, Jeff, at Y Realty that we had to think through, by the way.
Yeah.
People follow people.
Yeah.
We're like, how can we
have a shirt that says something.
People
like that.
follow people. Oh,
influence people.
Yeah, you're right. That's right. And I that's never going to change. So I think we need to identify what people we're going to be showcasing that can poke the current trend in our direction. And so knowing that, like you and I already know that. So let's just like people hack. You know how people do trend hacking, right? Well, I think we should be people trend hacking. Like who are people talking about right now? Trump, Kamala, and then whoever else is up there. And it's always changing. And I think we need to look at it as an opportunity where a lot of people don't. So when we're reading news, we need to look at it and say, ooh, how can I use that for my audience? Ooh, how can I use that to attract more people to my community? Oh, yeah, this is a good one. I could put a twist on this one. And I think the more we start creating a habit of doing that, the more followers we'll get, which then can turn into those relationships we want to close transactions. Because
followers
feel comfortable.
Followers that matter.
Yeah, followers that, dude, over the weekend, I'm back and forth on Instagram messages with people that, first, attraction on the real estate side, right? Number one, now that we have that. But on the other end, we're still attracting customers, right? We just closed a $1.2 million transaction from Instagram. And it's because of us bringing in people, commenting, and then nurturing those, right? But it all comes down to, wait a second, what trends are we going to post about? What are we going to post about according to what's happening out there to really bring in that emotion? Because people follow people, right? I think that's a key thing. You do it really well in the Ozarks because you understand the culture there, right? That's why people get confused. It's like, no, you're a hardcore MAGA Republican, right? I'm like, no, Jeff isn't. Jeff just actually wants good leadership, right? He just happens to be in the Ozarks.
Yeah, it's not even a reflection of, I don't fly a Trump flag. I'm just videoing people that fly Trump flags. Like, that's not my MO. I would never do that.
No, but you're doing exactly what you're telling us to do, which is they're hacking into that trend.
Yeah.
And that's the coolest part. And people don't understand that because they put too much emotion into it and don't look at it as a business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what Abraham Lincoln's like, hey, you know what? Can we just step away from the passion, please?
Yeah.
And just let's look at logic.
Yep.
And let's look at the laws, for that time. But anyway, that's what it reminded me of, dude.
It's funny that you say that too, because it's like, just because you vote one way or another, just because you vote for Kamala doesn't make you a tree hugger, Tesla driver. Just because you
calm down there, throwing
right. Games. Which, by the way, I say that because I pick up my Tesla on Wednesday.
I know. I remember.
And so just because you vote for Trump doesn't make you a MAGA, whatever that is. It's like, it's simply again, you have to decide. I mean, I don't know. The way I always looked at it was because, I think the way I described my own upbringing, I was brought up as a Democrat because my dad is, so I didn't know any different. I just listened to that. But then one of the things that drove me more liberal was I'm very anti-war, and I still am today. I've always been anti-policing the world. I never understood it. I didn't like the Bushes. I didn't like how it just felt like they just wanted to pick a fight and go fight somebody. And I just didn't like that. And I come up in a military family, and I don't like the idea that we get sent off and someone may never come back, all because we have a beef with somebody who's fighting a holy war that you cannot police. Like, that's not policeable when you get involved in religion. And so I lean liberal in that regard. But then as I've gotten a little bit older and I've had some success, I've realized, well, there's some benefits to a Republican president as it relates to my financial situation. And so although I'm not pro-guns, the only reason I own a gun, Tristan, is because I won it at a golf tournament. I won it like 9 years ago and shot it for the first time a year ago because I'm not a gun guy, which is very anti-Republican. I'm about ready to own a Tesla, which is very liberal. It's fun. I mean, I say that because I know that people think I am hardcore. I'm not. I'm very hardcore against both. I hate them and despise them both. And but I will exercise my right to vote, and I will choose wisely based upon who I think will have the most positive impact on me and my family. And I think everybody should look at it the same way. Look past the Biden and the Kamala and the Trump and look more towards what policy will potentially be best for you for the next 4 years. That's what matters to me.
You reiterated what Abe Lincoln said.
What was he, by the way?
1859. He was a Democrat, but the Democrat stood for something else at the time.
Isn't that funny?
And then Clay, who was his competitor, was a Whig, which is like the harder Republican, and then it's switched. It's like weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, you said exactly what Abe said, which is interesting. I agree. And he agrees with you. Listen, I'm voting for Abraham Lincoln, okay?
You know what's even funnier? I just literally got a message 2 minutes ago. Hi, Jeff, your Model 3 is on site. If you would prefer to take delivery of your Model 3 sooner than currently. Isn't that crazy?
The answer is yes, right? Wait, are you going to go pick it up today instead?
Probably not.
Oh, tomorrow?
I mean, I cleared my schedule for Wednesday afternoon, so I probably will. I don't know yet. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, everybody. That's a wrap.
I mean, we never really got into it, so I think we should continue this conversation next week because this is going to continue. And how you use this with your socials is so incredibly important. I do not think you should run from it. And I think that is TBD. Let's continue this. I think you should figure out a way to either have fun with it or, lean into it in a very middle ground, or, lean into it with your beliefs. Either way, it will be beneficial to you. Let's continue this conversation next week.
See you, everybody.